This is what the app looks like. This is your dashboard. You've got documents, you've got your disclaimer section, and you've also got reports. What you want to do in the dashboard is you want to give the app copy that it needs to rewrite. What's extremely important to take into consideration here, there's different levels of risks. So let's use this test and call it test 1. And we want the app to analyze it. It will go in, it will analyze the copy, and it will tell us exactly 0% compliance score. These are the amount of issues, how long it took to do the analysis. And it will also show you the analysis is at high risk, medium risk, low risk, and then gives you a breakdown based on that. Based on these misleading statements, it's against the FINRA rule 2210, the same year as against the SEC rule 156. Now you can either accept all the suggestions to be rewritten by AI, or you can go and you can either accept the rewrite, dismiss it, give feedback on that rewrite, and continue it. Let's say we accept this rewrite, we look at this part as well, accept the rewrite. Now what will happen is it will change the compliance score. It will also show you the amount of issues remaining, and what you can do if you want to go and access the document, you go to documents, you go to compliance report, and you can see exactly what was flagged, what was the recommended fix. You can look at the compliant version and you can compare the non-compliant to the compliant version. Then on the dashboard, as you see on the right side, you've got the overview, the amount of submissions, the amount of issues, the amount of approved content, and also the average score of the content. You'll have the opportunity with the analytics to filter between days and months. And you can also see total analyzed documents, the average score based on those, total violations, and the active users. You'll also see your top violations, your current trends, and also the recent activity. Then you have your settings area. This is normal profile. You can invite team members as well as give them certain permissions. Then company settings, you've got the company name, company domain, company slug, and also the team size. Once you're done with your copy, you can paste inside and get the appropriate disclaimers that should go alongside with that copy. From a reports point of view, you can generate a compliance summary of all your scores, your trends, and improved metrics. You can also generate a report for a deep dive into the violation patterns and most common compliance issues with that department or business. What is going on, everyone? It is the 30th of May 2025, the first day of Bolt's Hackathon challenge. I saw it on Twitter this morning and I thought to myself, why not just give it a shot? On the road to our 100K Bolt in Public challenge. And I thought, let me dive into Bolt. I've been a big fan of Replit. I've used Bolt with certain projects and I thought, why not give it a shot for this month? See what we can build. We already have an idea of what we need infrastructurally in the organization to build. Let's get registered and follow the journey. I will document everything in this challenge so you will see the progress and what that looks like. You will see the wins, the struggles, the headaches, and the achievements. Without further ado, let's jump straight in. All right, so what we will need to do is first we need to sign up and ensure that everything is sorted. It is quite a challenge, guys. I must say this is very exciting, especially in the AI vibe coding community. I can see how this can become something huge, even though it's already massive. But let's go for the registrations. Let's get ourselves sorted. Guys, it's day 2. I still haven't received my Hackathon builders package yet, but what I did think would have been a good idea for us to explore further together today is identifying what all of that looks like, what the rules looks like, how the submissions work, and go through all the specifics regarding that. So without further ado, let's jump in. Let's go through the rules. That's extremely important. I'm going to skip the introduction of these rules and just lay out the most important parts. So the hackathon is not open to individuals who are residents of, okay, that's quite fundamental. This is important, how to enter. So we need to register, which we've done. We will receive the developer tools, which we haven't received. I did reach out to Bolt on X and they did respond saying that there's been a lot of codes going out and I'm assuming that they're dripping the codes at certain times. So let's wait until we receive that. Then to get access to the required tools, we must sign up to the free plan, right? Or using the existing Bolt account. Okay, this is also important. Access to additional resources will be provided via email within 3 business days of registration to eligible entrants. Additional charges incurred by an entrant for the use of any tools or products or their responsibility makes complete sense. If your project described below also meets the requirements of one or more of the additional optional requirements defined, project may be eligible for the relevant prize. So There's quite a bit of prizes that Bolt goes through, and we can go through that as well, but mainly taking into consideration, this is what the project requirements look like. So let's jump through what this looks like. So the core functionality needs to be run within Bolt. Primary development needs to be in Bolt. External tools like Figma, GPT, and other AI codes may be used for idea development, design, prototyping. Use of other platforms is permitted, only in areas where Bolt is currently less suited. This should be kept minimal and clearly documented. Important. Badge requirement. The final submitted project must include an auto-applied Bolt badge, which will automatically qualify the deployments. So let's look at the project overview and evaluation. So while evaluation may involve some subjectivity, judging will prioritize submissions that are clearly and primarily Bolt on Bolt. Essentially, if you are chasing the prize pot, it is clear that as much as you can build on Bolt. It's made very clear here. So make more money challenge, right? Use the Revenue Cat mobile SDK, pay or build it to acquire subscribers in your mobile Bolt app. Okay. Custom domain challenge. So basically these are all the different add-ons in your builder pack that Bolt is affiliated with, that you, again, use all of what they give you essentially. Then the functionality of the project must be capable of being successfully installed, running consistently on the platform for which it was intended. All right. Important. New projects only. Say third-party integrations. So you will need to authorize that in advance if you are using a third-party integration that doesn't specifically align with what's required from Bolt side as we're going through this. Okay, so the submissions must meet the following requirements. Okay, include a project Bolt on Bolt. Provide a URL publicly when available. Confirm usage of Bolt to build the project. The publicly deployed version of the project interface should include a badge that highlights that it's Bolt on. Provide the project URL, the optional. Select the available opt-in bonus prize if you wish to be considered for a provide any bonus prize requirements during submission. Stand out. Event hosts. Award for most welcoming. Okay. These are more community-orientated bonuses. Again, guys, great stuff. If you guys are into all of that and you've got time for it, go for it. Also include a text description that should explain the feature and functionality of your project. The text description should also explain how it meets the challenge requirements or bonus prize that will be given throughout the project. Okay, you need to represent where you're from and your team members. Again, this is if you are building with team members. I'm building this challenge solo, but I do have external advice based on this, as the app that we have in mind to build right now is focusing a lot on compliance, and it's more infrastructurally built internally for our clients and not necessarily as something we thought about promoting publicly. We might, if that's part of what needs to happen here. And then include a demonstration video of the project. Should be 3 minutes, should include footage that shows the project functioning, should include footage associated with the challenge requirements or bonus prize. Okay. You can submit multiple submissions, but each submission must be unique and substantially different from the other submissions. Important. Submission ownership. It basically says here that it needs to be your original work, right? It's going to be extremely important. And then access must be provided to a working project, judging and testing by providing a link for the website functioning demo or test build. Okay, that's all understandable. And then they just go into more specifics. So that is it from the rules standpoint, guys. So once I receive my builder package, I will take you through what that looks like and also go into the specifics on how to set that all up and then move into the planning of what we're looking to build. See you then. What is going on, everyone? So this is day 3, and guess what? I received an email notification from Bolt saying that my builder package has arrived. I am extremely excited for that, ready to jump into what that looks like. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. Before we jump in and signing up for each software, let's look at what is currently included in the builder pack. So we get a free Bolt Pro account, we get a free 1-year domain. With Entry, with RevenueCat, we can utilize their services to monetize the app. And with Algorand, we get unlimited RPC calls and FPFS bandwidth. Tavis, we get custom plan with credits, 11 labs. We get 3 months of the creator tier, which I think is a very good deal. With Pika, we get 2 months of pro access. Sentry, we get 6 months of the team plan. With Expo, we get a month worth of production. Lingo, $50 in credits. Dapier, we have $25 in API credits and 50% off. 21st Devs also 15% off for a year, which I think was great. And then with River, we have 3 months free, and with Dev, we have 1 year of membership. Let's see what we received in our inbox here. So we can see Bolt Pro account. Let's use this code. And you sign into Bolt's pricing page. I would guess it is for this account. Okay, so we are currently on Bolt Pro plan. Everything now is signed up for, and what we can see here is all the above URLs are unique to me and can only be used once. Maximum of 1 code per billing account. That all makes sense. Again, we went through the rules previously, and if you run into any issues, you can reach out into the Discord server. Everything signed up, ready to get rolling with building out the platforms. As I'm heading on my way back home, I'm thinking of the phases I'll need to go into in order to get this app fully functional and working within 4 weeks. So as you guys know, this is leading towards the 100K Built in Public challenge, where I am vibe coding a software while building an AI SaaS startup up to 100K, whether we are selling the software at 100K or we're doing an exit at 100K. Now, moving into it, I have quite a good understanding of what works for me regarding tech stacks, etc. But who knows? I might move over to Bolt, depending on how this hackathon is going. And I can straight up say, one thing that I really don't like is tech setup. I don't want to set up backends. I don't want to set up databases. I don't want to test the configuration. And for a long time, that's a huge problem that Replit solves. I don't have to worry about those things. It does it all for me. Whereas with Bolt, I can build the UI, but I will still need to configure the back end with the database. And that by itself to me it's a bit of a friction point. If I am going into this challenge open-minded, I am open to spending a bit more time in getting everything sorted and set up correctly. So yeah, guys, once I get home, I'm going to set everything up, ensure that the planning is going well, show you guys the exact process that I go through to set up the infrastructure for the app. And while I'm getting that all sorted, start mapping out the features, the functions, what that looks like as it pertains to the back end, and then most probably start with the UI tomorrow. Let's see what we can do in light of starting and getting the planning stage undergo. All right, guys. So right now we are going to jump into the planning stages of this. I already have the database sorted. I've worked out all the specifics within the documentation, but now we need to take all of that and build it into an MVP. The idea that I have regarding this, I've already uploaded and spoken to chat about, and I'll show you what that looks like. As you guys know, this is not just an idea of an app. We actually need to use this app. So if for whatever reason Bolt does not work out, which I do need to take into consideration, it will be most probably beneficial to have it on Replit, as Replit usually has the integrations and the databases with the backend integrated by default. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. So as you guys can see here, the strategic positioning of the software for now would be called AdvisorProof. It basically explains what the app is all about and what that looks like. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take the core architecture here, and I'm going to go to the planning template here. By the way, guys, I've got this template for you down in the description at no cost for you to check out. What I usually do is I take the template, I'll go back to chat after I've given it the context and the idea that I would like to create, and I'll ask it to create a structured prompt based on the outline of this template so that we can provide it to the coding platform. Take the above information and bring that logic with features into this template and provide me with a prompt. I can use Bolt.new, take into consideration the backend infrastructure, rack setup for database retrieval, and for architecture. So taking that into consideration, let's see what it provides us. That seems about right. Okay, before I'm going to move everything over to Bolt, I'm also just going to ask it to create the same prompt, taking the outline template into consideration, but create it for Replit. In the meantime, here, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give it to Replit so Replit can run with it. As you guys know, Replit will do a lot of this by itself, and then while Replit is continuing with that build, I will then take that and I will start with the database integrations and ensure that we have the logic set up for Bolt before we start working on the front end. The last thing we want to do, guys, is start to build the front end, get all the features going, and then we can't get the logic to speak to the database or have some challenges with the logic pertaining the backend and database. Okay, let's quickly see what it provided us here with. Right, this up. So here we can see already that Replit is asking us implement advanced rack system. Yes. Add real-time collaboration features, great. Yes. Create automated disclosure suggestion agent, good. Let's start with that and see what Replit will start to come up with. So while Replit is busy with that, we can move over to Bolt and get everything sorted. All right, guys, Bolt is still busy, but as I'm seeing this code be written, it blows my mind with where we are today with technology and what that looks like. To be able to do all of this and to think that back in the day, people actually need to do this manually. Unreal. Okay, guys, so everything here looks quite fundamental. However, nothing is working, so we did need to, we need to ensure that we can actually use this. So I also just gave feedback, create backend actions to save submissions and retrieve flagged violations. Then I also had add database tables for submissions violations, right? And add an API action, add an open AI action that takes submission and suggests compliant rewrites using regulatory rules as context, and then ensure to check compliance button triggers LLM, rules engine flags, right? Let's see what it comes up with. What I think I can do right now, I've got 560 pages that needs to be downloaded for SEC and then also for FINRA, and these would be the data that the app will need to use and compare the copy that it receives into the app. So what essentially the app needs to do within the market that we're in, it needs to take copy that's being written, flag the copy, what is compliant, what's not, and help to rewrite the suggestions. Okay, Bolt is done. Added database tables for submissions, violation, and rewrites. Good. Open AI, okay, but I haven't really given it any code, so let's see what that looks like.
Added GPT-4 integration, go save submissions to database, track violations, test enhanced functionality. All right, so let's add the Supabase and OpenAI credentials to the .nev file, paste marketing copy with potential violations, click check compliance. Let's get that going. So guys, I'm going to quickly pause the video as I retrieve my API credentials. I've now connected my credentials. However, we are experiencing a problem here. So let's attempt to fix that again. We also just take this, put it in there. Just say yes as well. Let's go over to Replit and see. Right, so basically I'm only seeing a landing page. Okay, so now I'm updating the backend with some of the files. I do see that Bolt can only take 5. So let's see what happens here on Replit side. Okay, Replit side, everything here seems about good. Let's also say, let's use the same prompt. Let's see how many files we can upload here. Okay, can only attach 20 files, right? So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, there's 20. That's all fine. Sure that we build this in the way it's intended for, just say, to use to screen the copy, to analyze the user's copy against it and see if it's compliant or not. Okay, guys, so now that I've uploaded all the documentation into Bolt to store on the database, I'm asking it now to just verify the structure for me as well, and then create the backend action that generates OpenAI embeddings for each regulation, and then update the rewrite function to retrieve the top 3 relevant rules from regulatory table. Or rather just say, let me say top relevant rules. Let's say GPT 4.0. Then there's a prompt for it to follow. So let's see what it comes up with regarding this. And in the meantime, while it's busy, we can go over to Replit. And what we can see in Replit, it's still busy adding all the first 20 files in there and continuing to build out the database. All right, so here's another error we encountered with Bolt, and this is where I really appreciate Replit. Guys, it's with Replit, if there's errors, the agent ran into an error, and then it just sorts out its own errors. It can really save you a lot of time and headaches. So now what I do is I take that, I go to chat, I ask, what should I do? What would you suggest? Basically, I'm just going to take this entire thing and give it to Bolt, and let's see what Bolt comes up with. Let's give Bolt the instructions and see if Bolt can go ahead and fix all of that for us, or if that's still something we'll need to do manually. Yeah, still something we'll need to fix manually. Okay, so I just took the script that ChatGPT said. Let's see what happens now. What's currently happening is it's trying to retrieve all the information from ChatGPT, where the token amount limit is 120,000. So what we're doing now is we're basically just limiting the amount that it needs to gather and then give us a specific amount back. And we're still sitting with the same error. While we're experiencing these errors, we have the information set up there. So let's add the rest in there. So my guess would be here is to take the large files and break them down manually. Perhaps provide the JSON files. Now, if that's the case, that's a headache. That's not something one would want to go through because there's a lot of documentation with a lot of copy. So we currently have this set up on Replit. It looks really clean, really good. We can navigate between different sections. All right, guys, I'm still getting the same error. So what I'm going to do now, open up this section inside of Terminal. All right, guys, so my screen recording crashed. What a struggle with getting just the basic infrastructure set up. And maybe it's because we vibe coders. We don't know the intricacies within the technicalities of becoming a engineer. Maybe it's not it. Maybe it is the platform. But for now, I'm
definitely going to put it on my lack of insights and think about how am I going to plan to resolve this. On the other hand, on Replit side, the Bolt is looking very well. I was thinking of continuing it, but I would like to share it with you guys as well. So I'll pause that until I've figured out a way to be able to overcome this current technical challenge that we have with the build on Bolt. Once I get the solution, I will record again and I will show you guys what I've done in order to resolve that. In the meantime, everyone else in the challenge, I'm not sure if you are coming from Replit as well, but yeah, drop some comments down there. Let me know, what am I missing? What should I be doing? See you tomorrow. Guys, what is going on? It has now been quite a bit of time since the hackathon has launched. I noticed that Bolt has over 100,000 people joining. It's insane to think that so many people are joining the vibe coding revolution, which is fantastic. But I'm still waiting on some of my QR codes. The idea was to use 11 Labs as part of the feedback infrastructure within our app. With the hackathon, they did mention that you get, I think it's 3 months at no cost or something along those lines. But anyway, I haven't received that. There's another QR code that they shared from a database point of view that I haven't. That's just not working. And from a customer support point of view, I completely understand there's a lot going on. They are quite quick to respond, which is fantastic. However, the resolve from the response, not really there. A lot of it is truly trying to soothe the positioning of the user, which is completely understandable, taking into consideration the amount of people. However, though, I do think a lot of people would most probably agree with this frustration. It's just getting something small sorted. You can't. So I'm going to go ahead and build without that. But without further ado, guys, let's jump straight in.
All right, guys. So we've had these issues here where every single time something is added, it can't be resolved. So firstly, it was the dependencies, which I troubleshooted and sorted it out. But now when I add something in here, say this app will make you $10,000, obviously that's not compliant. So to check that, what's currently happening is I'm running into another problem with Bolt. So what I did was I did a bit of troubleshooting and me paste you the prompt in. So I said, as you are aware, I'm building an app called AdvisorProof that lets financial advisors upload or paste marketing copy, returns compliance score, and feedback based on uploaded regulatory documentation. Not the documentation. Also mentioned that I've already uploaded it. Then I say, please rebuild the database using the logic of proper LangChain RAG setup, including document ingestion, chunking, embedding, vector storage, retrieval with context injection, just to make it more clear. So let's see if we can attempt the fix from there and explain what it should be doing and see what it comes up. Okay, so Bolt came back and shared that looking at the area and the requirements, I can see that the issue with the Supabase connection is failing, but more importantly, you need a complete rebuild of the application to implement a proper RAG retrieval. And that's so unique because when we started off this prompt, here we say it needed to incorporate the RAG setup. So let's see if it's going to be able to rebuild all of this. And while we wait on that, let's test the one we built in Replit. So let's just say test. Here we can say, this book made me $10,000 and can do this thing for you. And let's see. So that's been saved. Let's quickly go to documents, right? It's saved, reports. Okay, let's quickly see over details. Let's also just do the same here. I'm going to say I pasted content into the paste your content box. However, nothing is generating. It's only saving it as a draft. Then what I'll do, I'll go back to Bolt here. Let's see what's actually happening. Let's go over to Replit, paste that prompt in here. And let's see what Replit comes up with. So looking at the React setup here, it looks like it is understanding what is required and going through all the documentation now as we speak to build it all out. And let's hope that it does understand how this should operate. Okay, Replit is saying you can see the issue. The current implementation isn't properly processing the content through the compliance analysis. Let's rebuild this with proper RAG using LangChain vector embeddings and robust database schemas. Okay, so it's not currently installing that, rebuilding the pipeline. Still rebuilding, so let's see in a little bit what this all looks like. All right, so Bolt is done. We can see it created the Supabase migration, created the LangChain to React setup, enabled everything in Supabase. So everything is basically updated according to our request. So we can see that the key improvements that were made is complete database schema rebuild, full LangChain RAG implementation, robust error handling, enhanced features, and system resilience. I just can't see anything on the screen. While Bolt's busy there, so we can see that Replit is still building. One thing that I did realize with Replit is it's currently saying that the new database and removing problematic LangChain file. This is important. This is very important for us to analyze and understand why is it utilizing just RAG without any form of LangChain frameworks and seeing how all of that works. But at least it's going on its own and sorting all of this out. So once this is done, I'll show you guys what that looks like. Okay, it said that it built comprehensive RAG-based compliance analysis system, processed 25 regulatory documents, which we added, created vector embeddings for AC Plus document chunks, implemented AI-powered violation detection, and added intelligent rewrite suggestions. So, firstly, I would like to know why did you remove the frameworks? Good, so let's I'm seeing the landing page, but can't seem to sign in. On Bolt side, we are still sitting with the issue that we can't see anything on screen. So I'm still troubleshooting this. Let's see if it does show up. Okay. Let's wait 10 seconds. Okay, 20 seconds has paused. We're not seeing anything. Seems like it's just going in circles right now. Yeah. So one thing that I'm still seeing with Bolt, it told me it fixed everything, but when I look at the code, it basically just focused on one area. It didn't really do much in the other areas, and it just seems like it's still busy with the one area. It's telling me that it updated all of these components and sections, but still there's quite a bit of issues to be resolved. So let's see how it manages all of this. Okay, on Replit's side, we've now seen that it did everything that was asked. There's something that I'm realizing here with Bolt is, even though it says that it's updating there at the top, you can basically scroll down and see that it's also updating the rest. I think it would be good for Bolt to have these sections move along as they're fixing the problems. But the challenge here that I'm seeing in comparison with Replit as an example, Replit speaks to its own infrastructure and resolves issues, where it just does what you ask, but it's not going to go back and resync and recheck everything continuously. You almost need to continuously prompt it. So let me say, fix any unresolved issues, bugs. Then on Replit side, let's see what's happening here. View is not running on my side. Just says there's still issues here that Bolt is identifying. Okay, I'm now on Replit, so everything here says it's basically signed in. I can see this. There's quite a bit here, over 1,000 plus document chunks. That's quite excessive. Looks like that might be needed. Let's see what this looks like. Here we are signing in now. Fantastic, we signed in. Let's say the thing here is how do I process a document or copy? There's no call to action that indicates that it's going to screen my copy. Okay, so Bolt is mentioning these are key areas that's fixed. I can still say continue to fix bugs, and I'm sure it will find bugs to fix, but let's see if we can get the app that needs to show on the preview screen. So I'll take a screenshot of this. I'll drop it in here, or I'll say, can't see anything. And probably, based on the behavior so far we've seen, it's going to probably just start the app in terminal. Okay. So there's still critical issues. It would be great if it can just continue to fix these bugs continuously without stopping and giving us an indication of what's been fixed and then stop working. Something that Replit does quite well is that once Replit gets to a stage where it fixes something, there's multiple checkpoints. And here's all the communication the agent is having with the infrastructure in order to resolve the problems. But it didn't stop here to require my feedback, right? You can see that in between it goes, it makes its own checkpoints. And then when it feels it's appropriate based on the majority of the tasks that it needed to do, it will then let me know. Now we can see, right, this compliance marketing. Let's give this an indication and say, this book will make you $10,000. What is it? Title. Getting this era. Trying to Submit, copy. Right, we're back in Bolt, and it seems like it did quite a bit of something. It's just because we can't see anything in preview. It's probably going to go back again and fix more bugs. It's quite redundant and unnecessary in my opinion, especially if you're looking at competitors like Replit as an example. Okay, so Bolt is saying it's now currently fixing more issues. Yeah, let's see what it can resolve. On Replit's side, as you guys know, we already have a working model that we can interact with that's saving copy already that we can essentially submit something to. Let's see, it's currently resolving its own error with the result and see what that looked like. All right, guys, again, we are here at the same place, same problem. Still can't see anything in the preview screen. Okay, so it just seems like we're getting into this continuous loop with Bolt where it sees the same thing, we prompt it the same way. I'm going to try to mix it up right now. So after you're running the app, still nothing shows up on screen. Are you sure all bugs are fixed on the front end, backend, and database? Let's see if it does something differently. Yeah, it's basically hallucinating its own. And then it tells me there's something wrong with internet, either on my side or there's something on their side. I'm just not sure if this size of app would be able to be built on Bolt. Yeah, nothing is happening. Thank the Lord that we have 3 credits for this challenge, because seeing the way Bolt behaves, I would guess that if you are a Bolt user, you are going to run through credits. I tried to submit content again and I did receive the error message again. So now it's going to go back and see what's currently happening in the database and fix that issue. Okay, so Replit mentioned that it's done. Let's see. Content submitted. Here, now let's see. Don't seem to find the content. It's putting in columns. All right, so let's wait for that to be done. And on the flip side, here on Bolt side, still not seeing anything. I wonder how much of these tokens it's using per request. It's not telling you. But I'm interested to know. Yeah, gosh, this is such a frustrating process, eh? It's literally saying the exact same thing. It looked like it's supposed to be a bit of LangChain or some Copilot's infrastructure, because seriously, the frameworks that this is currently having on this is just not helpful. But yeah, it goes again. And it's just this continuation, and I think it's rewriting the exact same process with all the new code. Okay, now after I said this again, it's giving me the exact same problem. I wonder if I were to open this in a new page, if it would be able to see something. Does it seem like anything is currently happening here? Yeah, it's still not mentioned that they've updated the way the analyze for compliant issues work. So it added some missing columns, created a detailed document view with comprehensive results, updated navigation to link from the documents. So let's see. This is non-compliant anyway. I'm just going to cut that. Content was submitted, I wonder. Yeah, this is strange. This is also not updated. This is already dummy data. We say that you get my most recent submission. Okay, there it goes to fix up all. All right, guys, so we currently are still experiencing the same problem with Bolt. Can't get it to open. I'm going to try this on Safari here, and it says like there's a bit of challenges with Safari. Yeah, let's see if everything here is going to be working. We can move over to a Chrome browser. Okay, so it did pick up an error here on Safari, which is a good thing. At least we're getting past the same old hallucination feedback. So it says basically run command. I'm just going to tell it to run this command. Okay, so Replit is done. We can test it again. Curious to see. So documents analyzed. Let me go there. Okay, fantastic. So let's view the details of this document. Are we all making good progress with Replit, by the way, guys? We can save documentation. We've got authentication set up already. And that authentication can give someone the opportunity to sign in through X, to sign in through Apple, to sign in through Replit, to sign in through Google, which is fantastic. And I do think that's definitely going to be an area where we're going to experience a bit of challenges with Bolt, perhaps. And we're still on the troubleshooting side of Bolt. We are not getting it to work. Okay, fantastic, guys. So we can currently now see that we have the application working on Bolt. However, it's currently saying it's in offline mode, which I think is quite a good addition to have, is to have an offline mode and an online mode. But we still have some problems here. It just doesn't seem like it can capture the information in Supabase correctly. And that's obviously pivotal for what the app needs to do. Let's attempt to fix that. But I like the look and feel. It's simple, straightforward. So I can now see a test document. It's strange because it says there's nothing. No characters. Then there are characters. And you've scored the characters / copy. Why is it not storing the copy and saying no content available? I'm making quite some good progress so far.
It basically showed the problems, and it's so strange because we've added this already in the beginning. It basically is taking Supabase and plugging that backend database into the app. But it might have been removed when we migrated the entire database and restructured everything. Don't they run an SQL built natively in Bolt? Which apparently they do. So Bolt is trying to configure everything. It seems like it's got everything sorted. Let me just confirm. That's still problems here. All database information and configuration over from Supabase to native in Bolt. Let's see what it says. Maybe it fixed this. While it's busy, and let's go have a look at what Replit is doing on this side. What is going on, everyone? So yesterday the screen recording crashed as well, and I thought, you know what, let me take a break. Anyway, as there's quite a bit of bugs that needs to be fixed, let's jump into those today. All right, guys, I managed to get it sorted on Chrome here. So what I essentially did was I moved the entire database from Supabase to the native database within Bolt, and it looks like it is connected and we can start using it. You can actually just use the copy that's usually inside of Replit. Fantastic. We are moving forward here. So I would say another thing that would needed to be flagged here was returns of 12% annually at zero risk. I really like the layout that Bolt created. Yeah, I think if we can build something similar to this over on Replit, that would be ideal. So right now, Replit's layout is good as well. It's just the navigation is becoming a bit more challenging. And I think if we can have everything on one page, that would be fantastic. What I'm also thinking here is the way that Bolt is currently receiving feedback. That becomes a problem here, because what essentially happens here is it's not storing history. Okay, so here you can see on Replit what the look and feel looks like. These are just updates. And then we have the documents. We've got to see the two tests that we created here, and then there's another test that's progressing. Let's add edit and delete function per document. And let's also add a similar look and feel with layout and feedback on the home page. I'll just say as attached or see attached. I could essentially just export the code from Bolt and import it here, but I don't want to do that. I want us to see what Replit can do with its own understanding
And I mean, there's a lot still from a design point of view and flow point of view that we can do, but I think to bolt this feature in on the home page to understand the logic, that's also extremely important. What we can do, we can go through to Bolt and say, give me a complete rundown of what you have built, what your understanding of the app and what the home page logic is. So after it updates this, I'm going to send this through and then we can get some feedback and see if we can take that feedback over to Replit. Okay, so now it mentions that it did update it. So let's say this book will generate $1,000 a day if you follow it step by step. Yeah, still not. It's as if this logic doesn't make sense. Say what the homepage logic is and homepage structure is. Give me a comprehensive feedback. What? All right, guys, so Bolt gave us quite a comprehensive application report so we can see the overview, the core architecture, the database, the key tables, the homepage structure. I'm basically going to just take this to Replit and let's see what Replit says. In the meantime, I'm going to say still does not screen the copy against the knowledge base. I'll just put in brackets here, RAG, provided to help the user make their marketing copy compliant. All right, guys, we are moving forward with Bolt quite well. So I pasted some non-compliant copy in here. It gave us 6 issues, told us exactly what those issues were, which I think is fantastic. And then some references. Can highlight the severity of the issues. We can either recheck the content, we can submit for review, we can share the report, etc. But I do see there is an error, so we want Bolt to obviously fix that error. Then moving over here, on Replit's side, it's starting to look very similar, how it's quite empty as well. It's not a lot added here, so I took a screenshot of this entire structure. So I'm just saying, should the front end dashboard look something like this? I'll just say with the same logic and feedback to user. We want to be able to see violations, violation scores, suggested copy based on the feedback, and then give the user the opportunity to save the feedback and copy as a document or not. Okay, so the error we were getting was because of the API key. that needed to be updated, which that's now updated. Let's give it a high-risk piece of copy that needs to be analyzed. It's definitely taking much longer than what it did. Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. This all is good now. What I would like to have here is create an AI suggested rewrite for the user to copy and paste instead of trying to rewrite the section themselves. Okay, Bolt now mentioned that it will give us a rewrite opportunity. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, now with the same piece of content, it's giving me 4 issues, even though it's definitely still compliant. Feedback, chat, mechanism that I can tell the infrastructure to why testing a rewrite. Okay, Bolt has added the feature to provide feedback. So this is what it currently looks like. It looks really good. You can add some copy. Let's add name risks as an example. Let's analyze that quickly. Okay. So here we can see what's also nice here is you can see why it violates the recommended action, or you can just use the generating AI rewrite. So what AI will go and do, it will rewrite that entire section. We strive to offer competitive returns that align with your investment goals. Our approach is designed to help you navigate the complexities. Let's see if we can keep market there. Quality rating. This does not fully seem compliant. Bolt has caught on very quick with the UI and how it should look and feel, but the logic is currently an issue. Let's quickly see this. Okay. And 2 issues we strive to offer. Let's find out why. Competitors future could imply performance claim. Very good. Let's see. Cool. We aim to provide. It seems like the AI rewrites are not fully using its own knowledge instead of knowledge base we provided you. Okay, guys, so now that we're over to Replit, this is what I created after the feedback. So let's test it out. Let's give this test and then we'll say updates so we know which one it is. This is interesting. Okay, so we've got the compliance analysis, 42%. Okay, good, very good. It's also looking very well. Going to provide competitors returns. Be sure to give all references underneath each other. Also make the issues found number, the color of the severity of the issues found. Also, ensure that the AI suggestions are written from the knowledge base not the LM itself, so that we can ensure a blind feedback. And this is looking very good. Very, very good so far. I like this dashboard is quite clean, and then we're going into these sections here. We will definitely work a lot more on the document sections here, and then also the reports. All right, guys, we've been experiencing quite a bit of a bug here with Bolt again. So right now it's just strange because with Replit, it will go and it will fix a specific area where it just seems like Bolt needs to rewrite the entire code every single time. That takes forever, first of all. And then secondly, it fails on itself. So as we're currently now going through it, we're seeing what it's doing and how it's currently guiding the prompt. So essentially, we are at the same place for both no-coding platforms. And we can see with Replit as an example, it's already done. I gave it the instruction, 2 minutes ago, and it's finished. And with Bolt, it's still going. Obviously, it codes like a monster. Definitely not something anyone would ever be able to do at the pace, but taking this all into consideration, when it gets you close to 500 lines of code, then for some reason it bugs out. So let's stay on here so I can show exactly what I mean. Okay, it's going well. So we're getting quite far here. It's already past 1,000 lines of code. Let's see how far we get. Fantastic. We're done with it. Not fully compliant. If it doesn't change anything really. Let's take this over to Replit and say, for the feedback section, this is what the UI should aim to look like, and as well with the functionality on how feedback is given with options. It's important that the backend framework are in a LangChain structure so that it can learn from itself on the feedback the user provides. Let's go back here. And I'll also say, also see the options. If a user chooses to rate their feedback negatively, okay, that's spelling I'm not going to worry about right now. Okay, this all looks good. Okay, overall, I feel positive with the current way that it's analyzing the copy. Much better. We aim to provide competitive returns. So what would be better here? We aim to help you learn how to potentially generate competitive returns. Let's quickly see what that comes down to. Investors, the generate competitive returns is the problem. Let's see what we can rewrite with this. This seems good. Let's copy that. Three issues found. Yeah, this is very FINRA. Guaranteed returns, performance, appropriate disclaimers. Another feature we can add based on your knowledge base. Let's add a holiday appropriate disclaimer generator that should go with certain copy sections, for example. Then I'll just put in brackets. Oh, it's the ATC one. So let me just give it an example. Okay, so the LangChain based learning system is being implemented here, which is fantastic. We're not getting any errors regarding that. Here we're getting one of those errors again. It seems like when you're following the code like we did earlier, it does not fail on us. So let's continue to do that. Okay, so we went past the disclaimer generator, which is fantastic, but now the component section is giving us errors. Now I'm interested to see if we are going to restart everything again with the, okay, let's go into the LangChain setup, yeah. Okay, Replit say the complete and LangChain-based feedback learning system, which essentially enables itself to learn the feedback and provide better outputs. Then we also have database tables created regarding that. Also, the AI suggestions is now part of the RAG knowledge based on the citations we provided. Feedback model connects with the API for continuous learning and professional UI matches design. All good. Let's say based on the app's knowledge base. With Replit, you definitely need to be much more specific and almost speak to a intern. You need to lay everything out word for word, be as specific as possible, which is never a bad thing. You know, will minimize a lot of the hallucinations where with Bolt, from a design point of view, you just captured exactly what we were looking for according to the brief so quickly. The functionality within how it operates and think with the back-end logic, there's a lot of back and forth that happens, and its own way of operating is also, in comparison to Replit, in my opinion, a bit behind. For example, now it needs to probably, how many code? It was 800 lines, right? So let's say retry again. It's most probably going to need to rewrite that entire 800 lines of code. Yeah, there we go again. This is an example, right? It's going to take however long it needs to take to get to the 800 again, whereas with Replit, it just goes in and fixes what it needs to fix and get out. It's so much quicker. You get feedback much easier, where we've spent a lot of time, specifically with Bolt, in troubleshooting and helping it to understand. And there's been a lot of time invested into it. Whereas with Replit, it catches the logic quite quickly and it enables the functionality to be able to be functional, but also gives you a quick feedback loop and how we can better and update the infrastructure, which is really, really good. And that's something manually you should lead Bolt with. All right, guys, after almost 15 minutes, we managed to get through. So I did mention that we've got regulatory document analysis, we've got content aware, we've got context-aware suggestions with regulatory-specific disclaimers, with intelligent content analysis comprehensive disclaimer library based on the infrastructures, and then some UI updates that we didn't ask for, but they went ahead and did anyway. So thanks for that, Bolt. let's test this out here and see what we get. Yeah, but now I can see where a problem comes in here is because of the disclaimers, it doesn't eliminate the fact that the copy is non-compliant. Some are important to have, but I can definitely see, like, for example, this one. Or this one for that matter, is not going to necessarily have that substantiation that we require to have a strong positioning. Let's first ensure that the copy is compliant before just suggesting any disclaimers, as some of the copy that would be rewritten. Let's go over here, still creating. I think it's basically done. Let's see here. These are all good. I just don't think it. Let's do this. Let's remove the disclaimer generator and bring it into the output of the analysis. For the copy, certain sections you require disclaimers, while others don't. But I also do think this is not a bad idea to have here by itself, to have a disclaimer section. And so let's also bolt in. I think what's going to be important for it to understand is something like, just give it an example. But I can also see there's no back button yet to go back to the home page. We'll add that in shortly. One thing I do pick up is truly, for example, what we're building here in Bolt. It's definitely a good choice if you want to shoot out quick MVPs that look great. Where Replit definitely takes a bit more design time. And if you are not very specific with Replit, it basically builds its own thought process around where certain sections could go and what that looks like, as we now just saw with the compliance generator. I think if I was more specific and laying it out step by step, it would have caught on. Where Bolt catches that easily. And it's strange because Bolt by itself, I think, also runs Claude Force on it, where Replit does the same. But I'm not sure what the coding knowledge base is and where it's pulling all of its insights from to be able to do that. Definitely different frameworks in how it's structured in Bolt, but yeah, this looks, I like the look and feel here, and I like the simplicity of how it flows, where This one also, the look and feel is good. And we've got the overviews here and recent activity regarding it. But in order to go to different places, we will need to navigate. And for example, if I want to get the previous submissions, the details from that, I would like to see all of that we saw inside here as well. This will be something we'll add, but that is something that Bolt thought about itself, which is very helpful. Okay, guys, so it is now done with the feedback. So this gives us a bit of a better understanding around how it's going to provide us with feedback. So let's add that in. One thing that I was also thinking about with the AI is to only rewrite the specific sections, or else we're going to definitely lose a lot of our API credits if it's using that. So what we want to see is if it also rewrites the entire piece of copy for the user. This is very good, and this is very quick as well, 2.3 seconds. We aim to compliant version. So give feedback, needs improvement. This all looks good. One thing I do want to mention. Is ensure that that entire look and feel, well, let's just say that entire is incorporated for the user inside of that specific piece of content in documents. So when a user opens up the document, their entire screen will be able to download it. Back here at Bolt, everything's quite stable right now. However, I am currently experiencing the same issue still. As we can see, we've been running through the tokens. I think we got 10 million tokens at no cost with the challenge. And yeah, that's important to take into consideration. It is very, very token heavy based on feedback. And a lot of it is because of what's happening here. So every time it's failing on you, it's using tokens where that should not be the case. You know, it needs to review something. It should be able to fix that without charging you. Okay, so after 400,000 tokens, we managed to get past this. And we are now here. Okay, so let's see if it is going to help us rewrite only the specific area. Good. Let's apply that to the content. Now I can't see if I say No, it's not returning here though. Okay, so Bolt updated that. So let's see. Oh, this is very, very good. Where's the copy that's applied? After the AI applied the AI suggested copy, where is the new copy saved? I think what we can add here, add a documents section where all the reports per analysis are stored with tags and filter functionality to give the user an easy, searchable directory. Let's see what it creates here. Okay, so it is still giving me errors when it's trying to rewrite. So I added another prompt in here to build a section in the profile section so that we can invite team members and give them certain permissions, ensure each company has the team and data isolation. This is good. I appreciate Bolt's understanding of the core functionality of the app. One thing that is important to take into consideration, we haven't built in the authentication yet. We haven't looked at all the security vulnerabilities, and I'm assuming these are things we will manually need to do. Where with Replit, you have all of that built in, and that's another huge section by itself, and it can easily turn into a headache if not done very well, especially the data isolation, because if the data isolation with the user is not configured correctly, data is spilling over into different users. And yeah, that can cause chaos. The same with the APIs here from a security standpoint. We will need to make 100% sure that this is all hidden, encrypted, and that it's essentially hacker-proof to the best of what it can be. Okay, guys, I'm not sure if you can see here, but we have 2.9 million tokens left. There was quite a bit of retries here, but we did manage to push through. So we basically have a document section here where documents could be saved. You've got your team section here where you can invite a team user, give them certain permissions, and then also profile with security notifications and preferences with the analytics. I do think, though, that we will need to get this analytics sorted, but I'm also wary of if we were to just bring in a feature that's almost 600,000 tokens. And basically what we brought in here was these three. I would have liked the profile to be at the top, the team to be under the profile, and only have perhaps documents, dashboard, and analytics. Let's see. Let's try to do that and see how many tokens it might take. Let's add a settings component next to the user's sign in display. Well, let's just say user that is signed in display at the top right corner, and add the team and profile section you created into that settings component and remove it from the home screen. Also, ensure that the rest of the home screen's navigation tabs, I'll just say, in the center of the screen. Let's see how many tokens it will use to do this. Okay, not too bad. It only took 100,000. It did exactly what we asked. And what we can do, so there we can navigate to the profile section, team management, and notifications. This is very good. Let's go back to the dashboard. Let's also ensure there's a problem here. Let's fix that first. All right, guys, we are currently back after it fixed this database error. And as you can see, it took 200,000 tokens just to fix that one error. But let's have a look at everything being done so far. Okay, let's see. Let's copy that. Let's say getting this error. Might be the same area at the top. Yeah. Okay. Right, guys, let me give you something that I really dislike sometimes about what happens with Replit is, for example, 7 minutes ago, I did mention that we need to ensure that these sections here are in the middle, but also in alignment with these sections next to it. As you can see, it's quite high, and I guess it's because of this element here at the bottom that shows you on what area you are. The same with this code generator section, still doesn't have a back section. Sometimes this gets extremely frustrating because these are areas that we have asked about before. Now, Replit is definitely not as credit heavy as Bolt, but just to be continuously going through the same things, it becomes quite redundant. All right, guys, Bolt took some time and finished this current error. I do want to show you here, it took, I think that was 300,000 credits just to fix this one error here. It's also just ensure that we can have functional. Let's see what's updated here. Where's the applied content? This is still a problem. You know, we're getting into these challenges again, yeah.
All right, guys, we are now on the final day to get this app launched. So yesterday, after the recording failed, I spent some time sorting out all the additional bugs on Bolt as well as on Replit. So currently what I have right now is a fully working app on Replit, partially working app on Bolt. And I'm going to share with you exactly what that looks like, my pros, the cons, and then deploy the app on the preferred platform. See you there. All right, guys. So now we are heading into the final stretch of ensuring that the app is fully built, that everything is sorted, and that we can deploy the app. As I just mentioned, the app crashed yesterday in the screen recording, and you guys only saw the troubleshooting that we had to endure with Bolt. What the app looks like here in Bolt. So as you can see with Bolt, everything is still the same, but I want to show you from where we were yesterday. So everything is showing quite well, as well as the templates, the regulation, moved it to the side here. Now, what is going to be important for you to take note of is that the entire app on Bolt is not functional. The only part that's functional is the main functionality of the app, which is essentially to screen the copy, to provide the feedback, to take that feedback, to rewrite it, and to showcase what are compliant, what's not compliant, etc. But it does not have the main functionality of what the app requires. And the main thing that the app requires is to have user management. We still need to build in the authentication component. We still need to ensure that all the security vulnerabilities are checked and also resolved. And we also need to make 100% sure that there's data isolation so that if there's multiple users signed into the app, that the data doesn't spill over from company to company. And that is another area to dive into. And also the back end of it. When inviting team members to the app, how do they get their emails? What does the email copy look like? How is that configured? There's a lot here that's still outstanding that unfortunately we cannot continue to work on as for the limits. And just to show you what I'm referring to here, I do think we would have been able to resolve a lot of these issues without having to go through this entire process with only fixing the error in the code, not rewrite everything. So you will see here, there were just so many lines of code it rewrote, and then providing it with feedback, then it rewrote that entire file again. And now there's 1,000 lines of code, then it picks up another problem, then let's resolve it, the same code that got updated. Then another problem, same file, rewritten. It continuously rewrites that entire file. Another problem, same file rewritten. So this drained the codes, the tokens. So when you guys saw yesterday, I think it was on 2 million left. And this entire debugging basically ripped us apart with all the code. So you'll see it continuously rewrote. How many times? It's quite a bit. It's most probably higher up than what I showed you. Let's see where was the most workable version. So yeah, everything was updated here. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 times that it needed to rewrite the exact same code file just to get past the troubleshooting. So let's jump into the app. At least it's functional from where it's at right now, so you guys can have a bit of an understanding. So we can add the copy in here, we can analyze the copy specifically, and then what we can do once the copy is finished analyzed, we can then take that copy, we can apply the AI edits, and it will give us at least a more compliant version. Now, I forgot to mention earlier, what the app also needs to do is it needs to take that entire copy that's written and give the user the opportunity to have that all in a document to either then export for compliance purposes and also just to have a look at what the feedback indicated, and what was fixed, what the copy looks like right now. And that's also a huge functionality that's not yet built into the app itself. So here we can see we are running with 4 compliance issues. Took 17, close to 18 seconds to get us the feedback. We can generate these AI rewrites. Which is working well. What we can then do, let's apply to the content. Yeah, there's another error. So yeah, unfortunately we don't have the copy to that. We don't have the tokens to go and resolve that. Still now giving us 4 errors to look at, but the compliance score at least climbed up. So let's see if we copy this. We paste it in here. And 70%. Okay, but still not where we want to be, right? So there's a lot of stuff here that still needs to be rewritten, regenerated, etc. So that's what the app looks like on Bolt. Again, document-wise, can't really open a document. It's not populating all of the metrics. It's not configured yet. The same with the analytics. It looks very good. But again, this is something that needs to be sorted out that we can utilize fully while taking into consideration the amount of credits you get. All right, guys, we are now in Replit. So let's quickly have a look at what the app looks like here. Very similar within structure. This all will be underneath this section. It's just the screen ratio currently that's quite wide, so it puts it on the side. But here we have everything very similar and can do quite a bit of the same functionality, but we have much more that's already done. So we can see here that we have the analysis time, the issues, the compliance score. Then we also have the content analysis, the issues breakdown. Then we can either accept all the suggestions, or we can individually go into each suggestion and resolve it. So this is what the app looks like on Replit. We've got the overview, we've got the analytics. We can also filter those between different stages. We can upload documentation, title it, give it the content. They also have the analytics of the compliance score, top violation types, and then recent activity from users. All of these are actual data that will be populated as users use the app within an organization. So let's analyze this copy. Right, the analysis is complete. Here we can see we've got the issues broken down with the references. And here we can decide either to use and accept all the AI suggestions, or we can just accept specific ones. All right, guys, so this is what the app looks like. Very similar to the one we built in Bolt, but you can still upload files. You can, let's test a file. Let's say test 5. Let's bring that copy in there. Also does the analyzing. Then we can see, okay, there's compliance scores 20%, content analysis, the analysis breakdown. Then we can accept all AI suggestions, or we can individually go through them and ask to accept that rewrite. Okay, that's rewritten. Then also accept that rewrite. So it's accepted, which is fantastic. Then the compliance score we can see is updated. The score is now 100% with 0 issues. Another awesome feature here is the document. So you can add new folders depending on the client or the department in your organization with a copy in it. And then you can drag documents into folders, and you can also access the document. So this is what a document looks like. You can see the issues, you can see the recommended actions,
etc. Okay, so this is what the app looks like. So once you've signed in, you have the opportunity to add the copy, analyze the content. Then you also have an overview. This is updated in real time with the analytics, and this you can filter as you choose to with each day to see your compliance score, what that looks like, the total violations, how that compliance score is distributed, the risk level distribution, top violation types, and then recent activity. So let's quickly run through it. Let's add this in here and let's say test 6. It's going to analyze the content and then it will tell us, right, so we've got 2 out of 2 issues picked up. One thing that I'm noticing here is that the highlighted text as well as this compliance score should be 0. Sure that the app is comparing copy to the information provided. Okay, those are the only 2 bugs I'm currently seeing. And what we can do here, you can see we've got AI to accept all the AI rewrites. But for this example, let's quickly go through what it's sharing. We can accept that rewrite. And as well, yeah, we can also accept the rewrite. And it will update that. So now we can go to documents and we can view this specific document. So once the app is done with the analysis, this is what the copy will look like. You'll have the opportunity to accept all the suggestions with AI, which is just a quick way to do it. If you trust the AI system, we've also incorporated a LangChain framework, so it learns by itself and it's got very good memory retrieval. So with all the feedback and the outputs alongside the RAG infrastructure, this is going to help a lot to ensure that the app is more sufficient as the users use the app. So let's accept all the AI suggestions. Now that it accepted both of them, then what we want to do is we want to be able to go to the documents. So once the copy is generated, you will have a report that you can access. So when you click on the report, you can open it up. You can view the initial report from the copy you provided. You can see the compliant version here, and you can compare the 2 versions. Now, aesthetically, this is not looking ideal. However, we will fix that. And right here, you have also the opportunity to change different statuses. We can say approved. One thing that you will get if you're in the financial market is you'll get a CRN code or number. This basically gives you the number to post the content socially if it's approved. And then you can also add some expiration dates, additional notes for yourself, and acknowledge that and approve that. And this will change to approve. But let me show you, if we just put it to pending review, what that will look like. It will just move and say pending. Back to the dashboard, we've got the disclaimer section, which you're aware of. So you can paste content inside here, and all of this will be populated, and you will get a disclaimer that's appropriate for the piece of content. Then you also have an audit trail report, compliance summary, and violations. So you can generate a report and download all of that. In the meantime, you also have your settings.
And inside of settings, you have your profile, you've got your team management where you can choose with the admin viewer, you can change the permissions, send them an invitation, and then also the company information, company domain, the slug, and also the member size. So yeah, guys, this is basically what this all looks like at the current stage. I do think this is good for a V1 submission from our side to the client, which I think is a very good place to start from. But taking this into consideration, I think it's important to discuss exactly the differences, the pros and cons, and which platform to use moving forward. So first things first is the authentication. So with Bolt, there's no built-in authentication. We still need to bolt that in, whether you're using Google, whether you're using X, whichever platform you're using, you'll need to go and individually get those authentication codes. Create authentication tokens, bring that all in with the API keys or the secret keys. That could still be taking quite a bit of time with the resolve, whereas with Replit, that is natively built in. And then also with the debugging, when we looked at Bolt, rewrites all the code, and that could really eat a lot of your tokens. But with Replit, it goes in and it fixes the specific faults within the code. Then also taking into consideration the front end design. I really liked the design we had from Bolt initially, just that clean aesthetic. It quickly pushed that out. We could easily access that and utilize it. It looked very good. Where it is less polished by default, and it does require a lot of customization to get it to be fully aesthetically at a place to present. Bolt does that quite straight up. Then another thing was code control. So with Replit, it's easy to isolate, it's easy to test, it's easy to make the changes, and you've got the full code access. Where with Replit, I felt it was quite hard to isolate logic changes and bolt in different infrastructures that can communicate with one another within its frameworks and provide you with the best possible output within longevity of the app working with the users. Where with Replit, I could do that quite easily, and it didn't give me massive headaches while pursuing it. Then the backend handling. So the backend, yes, we can now natively do that in Bolt as well. However, it did require quite a bit of back and forth with Replit. That's natively built in, it's already there, and helps to not have a separate configuration. And the infrastructure, the deployment pipeline, we didn't get too much into the weeds regarding that with Bolt, but we saw that there was a lot still that needs to happen and a lot going on, and not to mention the security, right? So the security considerations are a huge thing with Bolt that we still need to manually build in. Way with Replit, we have that all sorted. So if I could show you as an example, with Replit, we can just go in here, we can say security scanner, and it will basically go and it will scan all the security vulnerabilities. So in a few seconds, once it's finished scanned, we will be able to fix those vulnerabilities through the agent. As we can see, it gave us 2 potential vulnerabilities here. So let's say fix with agent, and there we go. We run the scan. It's doing what it needs to. Another area to take into consideration was the tool capability. Just thinking of a RAG infrastructure. Bringing all of the documentation into Bolt was quite a headache. Bolt couldn't by default understand how to chunk the documentation so that it's readable and easily accessible. We needed to guide it to do it. There was a lot of bugs with that. With Replit, that's all sorted. We did have some form of LangChain potential within Bolt, but we didn't really see anything there. But with Replit, we could build in LangChain at the end, LangGraph. There's some Flask capabilities as well. And with the vector storage and the APIs, everything is quite seamless in how it works. And a big thing for founders, guys, is how can you build an app that can be scalable? That is a huge factor to take into consideration, regardless of what platform you're on. I found it very challenging on Bolt with the scalability considerations. It was quite difficult to manage the app's logic and structure, where with Replit, again, on the other hand, it had all of that sorted. We can plug in different members, invite them, and that will all give us an opportunity to scale it and also to have the data isolated. Very important. Then another area is speed to prototype. Not all apps that we build, we will essentially end up using, but to have the opportunity to quickly go out and create the initial mockups that works and that you can test, that is ideally what you would want a platform to be able to provide without burning through all the credits. I found that Bolt was very good at it, very fast with the initial UI mockups. However, it started to crumble a bit when the logic became a bit too complex, and the frameworks and the infrastructure that we tried to build, it didn't comprehend that very well. Where with Replit, it's a bit slower to get it to the prototype, in my opinion, but much faster within the full production element of it, which is ultimately what you want. And then last but not least, the price. Both, I would say, is priced quite competitively, where with Bolt we had the $20 a month, which is, I think it was 10 million credits. With Replit, it's $25 a month, and you pay 25 cents per checkpoint reached. Potentially reach roughly $35 with the app on Replit. Now, if I were to upgrade on Bolt, we most probably would have ran out of the credits again because of all the functionality that's still needed, like the documentation, the authentication, the security, the user scalability, meaning within that data isolation, there's a lot that still needed to be done, and the way that the logic needed to speak to one another, and also the updated infrastructure. How do we update the frameworks and the backend to be able to be scalable and understand what we're looking to achieve? So pricing, I would say, fairly similar. However, at the end of the day, looking at where we are right now with the bolts, let's say beyond $30, $35 for the app on Replit, I would still go with Replit at the end of the day. Less hassles, everything natively in the platform itself, and it will give you the opportunity to scale while taking all of that into consideration, guys. So again, I've got the templates we use to build apps and websites down in the description below at no cost. If you want to be part of the AI Founders story where I build in public, where I share the entire journey of building a $100,000 AI native SaaS, I do invite you to allow yourself to put on the notification bell down in the description when we launch it on the 27th of this month, that you will get notified. Guys, it was great having you all with me for this journey. I hope that you've gathered some great value and understanding how to build these apps. This is just my approach, my framework. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the description below, what your thoughts were. If you have any suggestions, that would be awesome. But until then, see you in the next